If it rappers sit back, I'm about to sit back, sit back, I'm about to begin. Sit back, I'm about sit back, I'm about.
Andy Reid will go down as the greatest head coach in NFL history. This is the one that got the folks heated. This is what got you guys triggered and upset, especially Patriots fans. And look, I get it. It's widely assumed that Bill Belichick is and will be the greatest coach in NFL history, and I get why. The man is only 18 wins away from passing Don Shula for the most total wins all time. He has the most playoff appearances of all time with 19, most playoff wins ever with 31, the most Super Bowl appearances with 9, and the most Super Bowl titles of all time with 6. Belichick has the resume to make that case. If you ignored his career without Tom Brady and the several cheating scandals attached to his legacy with Tom Brady. Obviously, having Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes as their quarterbacks is going to help Belichick and Reid further their legacies by winning Super Bowls. Belichick and Reid have a combined 8 Super Bowl titles as NFL head coaches, and all 8 were won with Brady and Mahomes at the helm. But what folks seem to forget or overlook are the glaring differences between these two head coaches when they didn't have their all-time great head coach or great quarterbacks leading the way. Let's do a little comparison real quick. Here are their head-to-head comparisons. So, Bill Belichick had 329 total victories to this point, 31 total playoff wins, 19 playoff appearances, 13 conference championship appearances, 9 Super Bowl appearances to 6 Super Bowl wins. Andy Reid has 269 total wins, 22 playoff wins, 18 playoff appearances, 10 conference championship appearances, 4 Super Bowl appearances, and 2 Super Bowl wins. But here are their head-to-head comparisons without Brady and Mahomes. So, 10 seasons Belichick has coached without Tom Brady. He's 79 and 88. That's a 47 win percentage. Only 2 playoff appearances, 0 conference championship appearances, and 7 seasons with a below 500 record. Andy Reid has 19 seasons without Patrick Mahomes, won 183 games to 120 losses and 1 tie. That's a 60 win percentage. He went to the playoffs 13 times, 5 conference championship appearances, and only 3 seasons with a below 500 record. So as it stands, Belichick has 60 more wins, 9 more playoff wins, 1 more playoff appearance, 3 more conference championship appearances, 5 more Super Bowl appearances, and of course, 4 more Super Bowl wins than Andy Reid. Belichick is 71 years old, and his best chance of winning Super Bowls, let alone making the playoffs, are well behind him. Not only does he no longer have Brady, the AFC and the NFL as a whole has passed him and the Patriots by, and I do not expect him to be around for more than a couple more seasons at best. Whereas Andy Reid, who is 65 years old, not young, but much younger than Belichick, especially in coaching years, has not only the best quarterback in the world, who's only 27 years old, he has one of the best GMs and rosters in the NFL littered with young, cheap players for the next 2 to 3 seasons. He's also a more suitable coach to today's NFL, being an offensive-minded head coach, and I think many would agree that at worst, Andy will go down as the greatest offensive mind in NFL history this side of Bill Walsh. But I'm looking at the pacing of Andy's career with Mahomes going nowhere anytime soon, and has me of the firm belief that he will be the greatest coach of all time when it's all said and done. I've been saying for 3 years now that I expect Andy Reid to coach till at least 2025, which is when his current contract is going to be up. Him and Brett Veach both, but I'm expecting those contracts to be extended, but we'll get to that in a second. So that's 3 more seasons to today. 3 more years, 2023, 2024, 2025. That's where my initial expectation was when 2018, 2019 took place. Because, once we saw Mahomes take over, we saw him become special, the question automatically became, okay, how long does Andy Reid hold on to this kid? Because, my God, this is the greatest quarterback he's ever had. This is the greatest quarterback we've ever seen. He'd be an idiot to walk away quickly. So that's why I said at least till 2025. Since Mahomes took over in 2018, the Chiefs averaged 13 wins per season. They've made the playoffs all 5 seasons and have won at least 1 playoff game in each of those seasons, along with 5 conference championship appearances, 3 Super Bowl appearances, and 2 Super Bowl wins. So if you kept those averages going for just another 3 seasons, Andy Reid would then have 308 wins, total wins, 25 postseason wins, 21 postseason appearances, 13 conference championship appearances, 6 Super Bowl appearances, and 3 Super Bowl wins. That's already a case for the greatest coach ever. That you can legitimately make that case after 2025. If he maintains these averages the Chiefs have been having with the regular season and postseason, you can make the case that's the greatest coach who's ever lived. But see, I don't think now that Andy will step away in 2025 because of the fact that in 2025, Patrick Mahomes will just be 30 years old. And I have a hard time believing that Andy Reid, with the success they would have for 5 to 8 years, with Patrick Mahomes really just getting going at only 30 years old, it's hard for me to imagine that Andy Reid's going to step aside and not continue his coaching career with something so special in Patrick Mahomes. Which is why I think he's coaching for at least another 5 seasons. And since I think we all believe that the Chiefs aren't going anywhere, I don't think it's crazy to think or assume that they could at least replicate what they did in their first 5 seasons together, seeing Andy won't become a worse coach, and Patrick is only getting better by just now beginning to enter his prime seasons. So if you doubled up their first 5 seasons for the next 5 seasons, Andy would end up with 334 total wins, which is the most all-time, 33 playoff wins, most all-time, 23 playoff appearances, most all-time, 15 conference championship appearances, most all-time, 7 Super Bowl appearances, second all-time, and 4 Super Bowl wins, second all-time. That's the greatest coach in NFL history. That is the greatest coach any of us have ever seen. And that's just duplicating what the Chiefs have done. Who's to say that these next 5 seasons aren't even better than what the Chiefs have done in the previous 5? Because, like I said, as great as Patrick Mahomes was out the gate, we saw how raw his game still very much was. We saw that he admitted that he didn't know some of the defensive schemes in the league, and he had to learn, he had to adjust. Hell, in his 4th season in the league, you saw him struggle more than he ever did in his previous 3 because the league started to adjust to him. And he had to start taking what the defenses were giving him and start to throw underneath the defense. And he became a better football player because of that. Losing Tyreek Hill made him a better football player because of that. I think having to adjust in 2021 before Tyreek ever was gone is what helped him be prepared for losing Tyreek Hill in 2022. I think he was a lot more prepared for that because he had a 10-11 game stretch where he had to figure out his shit before 2022 came about. And now the league is sitting here wondering how they're going to adjust to Patrick Mahomes. He's 27 years old. He's just now entering his prime years. Most great quarterbacks usually get to their prime, their best seasons, at 28 to about 33. So we're looking at another 5 or 6 all-time great seasons at least from Patrick Mahomes. Andy Reid isn't young, but Andy Reid isn't old enough to step away just yet. And I think that we're looking at another, I would say 5 seasons at worst from Andy Reid because of what he knows he has at his quarterback position alone, and knowing what Brett Veach can do with building young, cheap talent around Patrick Mahomes on both sides of the ball. To me, guys, considering everything that I just mentioned, it is without question that Andy Reid is the better coach than Belichick because he's done more when both had less at quarterback. This is the same reason I told you guys for years why LeBron is a better basketball player than MJ, because unlike MJ, LeBron carried mediocre rosters and coaches to the finals and had more consistent success, whereas MJ couldn't beat Larry Bird in a single playoff game and couldn't get out of the first round of the playoffs without Pippen, and sure as hell didn't get to the finals until he had Pippen and Phil. Belichick not only never won a Super Bowl without Brady, he not only never got to a Super Bowl without Brady, he didn't have a winning record without Brady. Meanwhile, Andy went to 5 conference championship games and a Super Bowl with a 60 win percentage before he ever had Patrick Mahomes. The reason Belichick has 6 rings and Andy has 2 is simply due to the fact that one got their Hall of Fame quarterback in their 7th season coaching and the other got theirs in their 20th. Had Andy got Mahomes 15 years ago, we view him the way we view Belichick. And here's something else I can't seem to comprehend when it comes to baseball, cheating scandals. They seem to matter so much more in the legacy of teams, players, and coaches than they do in football. This is one of the most confusing things I've ever experienced as a sports fan. The steroid era ruined the legacies of some of the greatest players of all time in Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, the list goes on. The Astros cheated by using buzzers to tip pitches 6 years ago, and they still get booed on the road. Their former manager, A.J. Hinch, could win another 2,000 games at the major league level, and he has a 0% chance of making the Hall of Fame. But Belichick can have more gates attached to his legacy than a Microsoft convention, and no one seems to give a shit. The man has been proven to have cheated. Proven to have cheated throughout the last 2 decades. Has been fined and had draft picks taken from him and the Patriots, and we act like that doesn't matter. Why? We need to keep that same energy for cheating across the board, across the sports landscape. And Belichick is a cheater. That should damage his legacy and make the fact that the worst thing anyone could say about Andy Reid is that he loves tomatoes on his cheeseburger. That should make the comparison lean even further in the favor of Big Red.